Hello everyone, and welcome back to our kitchen. Our guest today is Stephan Reichart, CEO of Game Events. Stephan?
It's a pleasure being here.
And
thanks for inviting me.
You cook.
Yes.
You have a cooking show.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes, but we have to do expectation management. So I'm not a professional chef. It's more about the show.
Okay.
Yeah, well, so I invite good friends of the industry to my house, and then we have a lot of alcohol. And beside that, we cook.
That's great. So this we both have alcohol. We can cook. We have stuff to cook, and so let's run a show then. Yeah. It's going to be an interesting one today because Stephan. Usually we have guests that either make games or have some kind of involvement in actual making or releasing games. You're coming from a very different perspective, which is going to be very interesting. Before we get to that, today we're going to cook eggplant specialty from Enzo's mother recipe.
Wow!
So
Enzo's mother.
Yes.
Okay. So we are not allowed to mess it up here. So
no. Exactly. We have to do things properly. So the first thing we'll have to do is peel and cut the eggplants, which I'll let you do, right? Whilst you tell us what is happening in the wondrous world of events in the video games industry.
Yes. Happy to share my understanding of what's happening.
Well, you've been doing it for some time, right? So Game Event is the company behind Gamescom, right?
Not Gamescom in total, so there is a collaboration between our association, the Game Association, who is the owner of the brand Gamescom, and then there is Köln-Messe.
Okay.
Is not only the place where Gamescom is happening, but also the Köln-Messe team is executing the whole trade show.
Okay.
And then there is our conference happening the 2 days before Gamescom started in the past. So Gamescom Dev, as we are called now, is one of the leading conferences in our industry. So last year we had 5,500 people there. And I'm quite proud to say that we are number 2 in the industry.
Okay.
So GDC still, of course, is bigger, but what we are doing there in Cologne is quite big too. And a lot of people are having a lot of fun at our show, and we are starting the Gamescom week. So we are happening at the same venue as Gamescom, etc.
So it's interesting because what is the goal of these conferences? Other than, of course, there's a underlying industry service of sharing knowledge and all that kind of stuff. But usually the conferences are more gatherings than anything, right?
Yeah.
Whilst this one is more there's a lot to do about education as well, right?
Yes.
So what's the main goal of running a conference like this?
Normally you have very different target groups joining a conference.
Okay.
You always have the newcomers, who are sometimes entering that game of conferences by being volunteers or students or whatsoever. So you have this huge number of people who join your event and want to learn everything.
Yeah.
Everything. About doing games, about networking, everything. Then you have another group of people who already do their games and who are looking for publishing partners, who are looking for investors, and they go there to exhibit their games and do a lot of matchmaking. And then you have a group of very experienced biz-devs who are looking for those games.
Okay.
Yeah, who are looking for their new projects and who want to get the most out of the invest to go to Gamescom. So if you are traveling, let's say, from the US to Cologne, it's of course it makes way more sense to do 5 days of business than just going there for 3 days. So they use our event to listen to indie teams, listen to partners here, and see how they can find their next big game. And then you have a lot of people, and I would say something like 50% of our attendees who are there because of the content.
Okay.
So they use our event like a spot of training and knowledge exchange and studying and listening to people and learning how to avoid mistakes or how to improve their internal processes.
What's the process of coming up with the content of an event like DevCon? So do you ride any sort of wave of trend, or what's the latest? Is it driven by tech? What's the
It's a wild mixture, to be honest. So we did nearly everything in the past. So we have some people advising us here in our advisory board. We have a lot of feedback from a very close network. So nearly all of my team members are doing events for ages.
Okay.
So I started with running events 25 years ago. And our head of sales, Rufina, is in the game for nearly 20 years. Our head of program, Nico, is doing events since 12 years. And before he was editor at a game magazine. So we talk a lot to people outside in the industry, and they tell us quite exactly what they want to discuss.
Okay.
So it's not that we have this magic meet-up once a year where we understand exactly what the industry is talking about and what they want to have. We talk throughout the year to hundreds of people, literally. And then out of that comes an idea of where to set the focus. And then we have a call for paper.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and
then
people.
Is there a committee that validates these, or?
Yes, it's also a mixture of Nico putting most of his time into that, but also people advising us and helping us to find the right topics. And that's really the hardest challenge, because just think about all the trends that shaped our industry or should shape our industry, like NFTs or blockchain or metaverse or whatsoever in the past. And you are sitting there, and I remember talking to Nico about that a lot, and we were like, this is not going to work out at all. Why do people want to talk about this? So let's invite some blockchain guys and let's invite some metaverse speakers. And we knew that the business is going to fail. So sometimes you are just doing it for the cause because people are interested in understanding
to drive attention as well,
although
right?
you do not believe on it.
Yeah. So the whole, because the most fascinating thing to me is this thing where basically let's do a proper teamwork.
Oh yes.
You do this half, and
I love to do chopping.
The very fascinating thing to me is that you're working 11 and a half months, and then the event happens, and then it's done. Which is really, it's fascinating, but also scary, right?
And you know, the worst thing is that when you start working on a program, start publishing the speakers, you have no understanding of, are people happy with what we are offering? And another really tough aspect is the industry in a financial situation where you send your team around the half of the world to visit a conference. This is something that GDC, for example, has to struggle with a lot. And let's see what's happening there this year. But there are so many uncertainties that it's really tough to understand what's going to happen in the end here. But lucky us, so far.
So far, so good.
Yes.
Yeah, still growing. But how do you define success, especially for the DevCon part? Is it like attendees? Is it satisfaction? Is it?
Yeah, it's, you know, of course, there is always this part of, in the end, you have to deliver some kind of financial success, of course.
Of course,
yeah?
yes.
But on the other hand, quality is the most important thing. So whatever we do, if people are not liking the quality of what we offer, they will not come back. So I even have the theory that it's enough to have one bad year or 1 year with low quality to nearly lose, to ruin an event brand. I don't know. Maybe it's the same in game development. Yeah. So if you
is it true that you're only good as your latest release, right?
Yeah.
So that's movies, that's everything. Yeah. But I think that the problem we have in general in the games industry is across the board we lack talent in education. Because education is a hard beast, right? It's a specific thing. So we have to rely on professionals putting their experience at the service of the industry, because teachers are not. There's not a lot of good teachers for, you know. So these conferences are the most important education hubs for industry, and this is for students but also for professionals. So there's a lot of responsibility also, as well, linked to it.
And it's really tough to find the right balance between the hot shit that people just want to hear, then a good group of people sharing very relevant knowledge, so people can really take it into their daily work and improve the way they work in the future, which is the toughest thing to properly estimate upfront, because we just take a look at the papers they give us. We have no real understanding
how they're going to deliver the message.
And you are part of the industry for so many years, so you know exactly what I mean when I say knowing a lot does not mean that you are able to transfer it to other people. So it's it's really tough to do that. But on the other hand, I think conferences are a really good spot to inspire people and to make them understand in which part of their own expertise they have to improve. So they in the best case they come back from Gamescom Dev and have an idea of what to deep dive to the upcoming weeks.
No, absolutely.
So
is there an element of attracting talent as well? Do you do like, I really want that guy to come and speak at the event?
Oh yes.
How do you chase that?
Yeah, that's one of the hardest things, to be honest. So all of us know so many people who tell us every day that they are doing the most fantastic things. If it's people pitching games to a publisher, or if it's publishers asking teams to sign with them, if it's service providers whatsoever. So we are surrounded by people who are telling us that they do the next big thing and that you have to trust them. And basically that's the magic that we have to do at our events too. So we are selling promises to...
Cut this.
Yes. Very small, I guess, right? So we are selling promises. We are selling people that we are delivering a fantastic mixture of content, and to our speakers we have to sell the same promise, and we have to convince them to come to our show and have a crowded room and have a wonderful audience listening to them. Yeah, and this is a lot of work. I would assume that we need something like 2 or 3 years to get those high potentials, to get those real experts, where all the senior whatsoever programmer, designers whatsoever are sitting in front of the program and saying, oh wow, that person
guy
I always wanted to see. Wow, cool, he's in Cologne, let's go there. And I would say it's always 2 or 3 years. You have to build up a very honest channel of communication. You have to do a really good expectation management, and then in the end you have to deliver what you promised. And this is this is tough. But again, it's the same with building games. We are doing the same with our gaming communities. And maybe that's one of the reasons why Gamescom Dev or DevCom all the years before became so successful, because some parts of my team are or have been game developers before. So we were used to really work community focused, to really listen to what the people out there want.
Yeah, that's so important. I mean, we're discussing about this, how important listening to your, I mean, especially you have like thousands of people, but it's, I guess you get feedback from hundreds of them.
Yes.
Trying to understand what they say and listening to their honest feedback is so important.
Yesterday when we had the fantastic dinner, thanks a lot by the way, it was awesome. We also discussed how to select the really meaningful feedback from all those people yelling at you and being frustrated about your, I don't know, game, for very strange reasons, and that's the same that we also have to handle. So we see hundreds of people giving us a feedback, and then you have to select what's really important for the upcoming year. So if people are complaining for, I don't know, let's say we need not 200 seats like I see there in our business center, they want us to have 800. Because they couldn't do a meeting there. Then what do you do with that feedback? So you have to evaluate it.
Is it
Can I help here?
No, it's okay. I think we're fine here.
So is it something that we really need to change, or was it just a person being very loud in giving us that feedback? And you cannot ignore it. You cannot just move forward, and then we are at what made GDC stumble. Oh, wow, crazy.
Is it good? Yeah, yes. I know. Like years and years of trying. All right, let's stop these ones.
I have, by the way, I have no idea what we are doing.
I'm going to try and go through this because I don't know either. So I've read recipe this morning.
But you raise the level of pressure very high. It's Enzo's mother's recipe.
We've got a responsibility. I mean, you after this you go home in Germany. I have to. I have Enzo in the office every day, so and he's very good at letting me know that I did it wrong. So.
Oh wow, it's always helpful. By the way, that's something that my team is doing also. So we have a very
making sure they know that you did it wrong. You know that you did it wrong.
Yes. We have a very open and honest communication in our team. And I guess it's key for success.
It is.
Otherwise, you're just doing something up there in your single room in the tower, in your room of management.
That's a lot. So, we have cut the eggplants in cubes. We have boiled the eggplants. We're gonna smash the eggplants now. Do a little bit of a cream, and then after that we are going to add more ingredients like the bread that we have soaked into the milk, and do our little bowls, like vegetable bowls.
Okay.
After this,
I'm curious. I always thought every Italian food is made out of garlic. There is no garlic here today.
No. That's the French.
Oh, come on.
Yes.
Oh, wow. I was so biased.
I'm going to start a riot now.
Okay.
With the French.
Yeah.
No, as far as I know, we don't use that much garlic.
Oh, come on. I always
No.
thought that. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Let me ask over there. Okay, in the north, he's the expert.
Okay.
So in the north we use not a lot of garlic. In the south we use a lot of garlic.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So we need to. Do you want to smash these?
Yes, of course. I'm really good in smashing things. So, but do I take this one?
Yeah, you can take that one. Yeah. Should be fine. So we can take out some of the water after that, and then we'll add this. Add the bread. It's perfect.
But how much do I have to smash it?
No, just smash it because we have to do the balls.
Okay.
The vegetable balls. In terms of the organization, how much is your work linked to the Gamescom thing? So, how much do you work together?
Very close.
Okay.
Very close. We have nearly daily meetings.
All right. Oh wow.
So
okay.
My team is talking to the event team of Gamescom, for planning the exhibition and stuff, the entry situation, ticketing. Content-wise, we are quite. We are not that close connected because we are the only ones doing content in Cologne. And then there is for the international audience, we are the only ones. Then there is another Congress happening called Gamescom Congress.
Okay.
Which is German focused. So we have a lot of attendees at that show. Coming from schools, teachers, science, and interested audience in general. So we are exchanging what they are doing and talking to them about their speaker lineup, and we are aligning our stuff with them, etc., etc. So it's a very, very close cooperation throughout the year. And we are not only doing Gamescom Dev in Cologne, we are also doing a small satellite event in Lisbon, which is an executive event with up to 80 people going there, by the way, in 3 weeks from now.
Okay.
So you are invited to join us if you like. It's also something where we work very close together to bring our networks together.
I've been invited live to the event, so
Yes.
I don't think I can not go now.
It's your choice, but no, it's fantastic. You will love it. You will love it. It's one of the. It's my most favorite event, to be honest, because the atmosphere is really special, and I haven't seen any other spot where executives from our industry talk so openly and so.
We'll add some Parmesan cheese now.
Yeah, and don't forget the eggs. And
so the eggs.
Not allowed to
forget the eggs. It's pecorino, yes, sorry.
Pecorino, sorry.
You see?
Of course, yes.
Pecorino, because there's a big difference, of course, as you know.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. So, and our audience is very, very picky about that stuff. Anyway, so the idea of running a show, of course, you've got this thing where basically, when you become a reference, you have. There's so many shows. We get so many shows in Europe, and you're acting from a position of, right? You're the big show. But we struggled all the way there to get that. How do you get there? I mean, we are at Slytherin. We are a company where we do things slowly, step by step, and grow over time. Did you have a moment where you realized this thing was going to be this big, or was it just organic?
It's a mixture.
Okay.
To be honest, so of course it was really, really helpful to be so close to Gamescom.
Okay.
Yeah, because many people traveled to Cologne anyway, but most of them arrived in Cologne on Tuesday. So we, when we were starting with DevCom back then, it was clear we are doing the main part of DevCom on Monday and Tuesday. But how to convince people to go to Cologne on Sunday already? Yeah, so it's a lot of work and a lot of community work that you have to put in convincing people.
Yeah, to stay longer.
And then you have to deliver what you promised.
Okay.
This is key, and I guess this is maybe the magic of my team and also me, that we are always very much focused on delivering the promise. So if you do this wrong once, maybe people will say, it's okay, it can happen. But if you do it wrong 2 times, people will for sure not show up again.
Yeah.
And we were able to deliver every promise that we made. So people always had a very good time. We have fantastic rates of satisfaction. Is that right?
Yeah.
And so people always had a fantastic time at our event, and we put a lot of effort in offering things that allow you to have a fantastic time. So we have a huge networking event on Sunday evening in one of the most beautiful locations in Cologne. Yeah, and we have all the speakers invited there and all the VIPs of the event. So we have the next day we have a speaker VIP area where they get fantastic food and just can relax and have a good time. So one column of our event, of course, is the content. 50% of the people are there because of the content. So who's bringing the content? Our speakers. Yeah. So we need to show them that we appreciate
you care,
and that we really care about them having a good time at our show.
Stephan, do you see that the audience is the same over the years? As in, I think that this idea of education, bringing education, has been a growing need of the industry. Do you see that there's people only coming from the educational part, and then maybe staying an extra day, or do you see that these are the people who are also going to Gamescom?
Oh, that's hard to say. Honestly, I guess in times where the industry has enough money, a lot of people come to learn things and to be there because of that educational part.
Okay.
But just go back in time for a year or 2. Nearly no of the big companies was sending teams anywhere. Yeah, because they just Corona was a good thing and also a bad thing in terms of changing our mentality. Yeah, so we started to work together online. We started to accept people working from their houses.
I love it that you can see the positive.
Yeah, and on the other hand, it also changed the way how people educated themselves. So they were using a lot of online content, and they were using a lot of tutorials and a lot of videos, and so many people started to produce that kind of content for free.
Yeah.
And that was one of the biggest challenges for us, to make people understand the benefit of being at a real event again. It's like
meeting people, shaking hands.
It's like bringing
asking questions.
Exactly. And having that, what we are doing here, a real conversation, where you can see the body language of a person, where you can also communicate in a, that looks so good. Enzo cannot.
I can
complain.
see he's happy.
Yeah, he's so happy.
That's great. So we have the eggplants, we have the eggs, we have the bread, the breadcrumbs, and the pecorino cheese. We can now start pan frying these. So if I ever come and cook in your show, what do you usually cook?
Wow.
Because I'm a big fan. I think in Germany you have the best cakes in the world.
Oh fuck, I'm so bad in baking. This is. I'm level 1.
Can we try? Can we try it? If I ever come, can we try a cake?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I would love to. Wow. I thought you were now saying, yeah, meat. Let's do some fantastic steak or whatever. But I tried to bake so many times and it was always a disaster.
Okay.
Yeah.
I relied on you for good cake, but
yeah. Okay, but I take the challenge, and if you ever join me, I will show you how to bake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give
German.
you 6 months.
This is very German. Yeah? If we accept the challenge, it has to be an excellent result at the end. There is no way of not delivering.
So we're just going to fry them. Well, first of all, we need to fill the. We need to do the balls.
Okay.
So what I'll do is I will take a dish here, and we can start doing the balls, and then we need to add the cheese into the balls. Okay. So do you want to try and do the balls? Yes. Just do like, yeah, not too big, not too small.
Okay, you tell me, because my hands are, everything in my hands is looking okay. Yeah. Wow.
It's okay, it's okay.
This looks good, and then I put this cheese in there.
Yeah.
I also have a question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
You know, the event business is always really challenging because of many reasons, yeah, like the overall industry situation. How do you experience our industry at the moment? Is it really in a crisis? Do you feel it's in a crisis, or is it just the normal up and down? And we are now in a down.
No, I don't think we are even in a down period. I think that in general we are experiencing what happens when an industry goes through transformation. There is a big element here of, guys, we're going through the most advanced technological change ever in decades with AI. And despite a lot of people saying they absolutely know what they're doing, no one has a strategy. Everyone is doing a strategy for the next 6 months because you don't know what the AI is going to come up with in 6 months' time. So there's that. Then you have this idea that, you know, console cycles, business models, there's no certainty at all of what is going to happen. So what is happening is basically that development goes through 3-4 year cycles. If you start making a game now, you're going to finish it in 3 years' time, right? What is the market going to be in 3 years? 3 years' time? Yeah. You don't know. So you have to scramble, and that's where the big hard part comes, where basically. Because there's no certainty, people are scared, and they change their mind all the time. And we're in that situation now, where because no one is able to plan, nobody is secure enough. That's why indies are doing so well, because their cycle is much shorter, their risk management is much more flexible, and they don't have to bet on, anything for the long term.
That's a very good analysis, and very frustrating for creative people. Right?
It is very frustrating.
So how do you explain it to a team that you are not able to do a business decision right now because you are not really believing in the market situation 3 years from now?
No, I think that you can make business decisions, but you have to make sure that you care about the people you work with, and so tell them, well, instead of making 3 years long projects, let's try and shorten the cycle. Instead of trying hard to, come up with something different, it's now time to reuse a lot of technology and capitalize on the technology we've built over time. So the business decisions are there to be made. They have to be very bold. If you want to bet on an uncertain future, well, that's being business owners, right? That's what you want to do. So, back in, you were saying before, Web3 and all that kind of stuff. We all kind of knew that this was going to be a little bit of a bubble, but a lot of people believed in it. So, that's perfectly fine. You build a business around it, and if it works, then you're on for the races. But no, I think it's not a crisis. It's just that we have to manage the current environment and make business decisions based on this. The crisis is when a model becomes totally obsolete and there's no replacement. Currently, I can see a lot of replacements for, what we have.
Interesting. Okay.
So, no, I'm honestly very positive about the industry because what we are seeing is that the industry is finding solutions already. It's not like stuck in a place where what do we do?
That's true.
So there are some companies that are going to take a longer time to adapt to that because they have huge organizations and their model is built around a certain type of product. But there is already a way forward that we have to adapt. So no, I'm very positive.
Yeah, that's good to hear. So my gut feeling tells me we are getting back to normal this year. Yeah, because budgets are out there again. So people are starting to sign stuff and they do a lot of things. That seem to have a very positive outcome.
More sense.
Yeah. But last year it was devastating. So nearly all of my good friends running teams with 25 to 50 people, they were like, I have no idea if we are here next year because no one is signing any of the deals. But it looks like getting back to normal again.
I think there's a fundamental shift into cost of resources. So all the making games in the US, for instance, is very, very expensive compared to making the same thing in south of Europe or the Far East and so on. So you have to understand that the model of having 1,500 people in the same studio in California is not viable anymore. That you understand very clearly. And because of that, lots of publishers are scared of investing now even acceptable numbers because they are scared. But it's really about the scare. It's not about a real problem. So, no, I think you're right. Things are going to be back to normal very soon, and I'm very confident that we are going to readapt very quickly to what is happening out there. It does look good, right?
It looks awesome. Yeah. I was just about to say how good it looks.
We could open a shop tomorrow.
Yeah. We maybe need to be a bit faster in preparing it.
No, we just do four a day, and we sell them for €100 each.
Yeah, okay. I don't know the price point here in Milano, so
no, it's perfectly fine.
If you say it's okay,
it's an elite thing.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, wow.
So, Stephan, what is the future of DevCom? What is it that you're very much look forward to this year, but also in the more distant future? What's the development of this sort of?
If I could dream, year of let's say the year 2030. Okay. Yeah. So this is a reasonable period of time, 5 years from now. I think, and this is no marketing blah blah, I really think that we are going to be the #1 conference.
Okay.
For many reasons, not only because GDC has to struggle so hard right now, but also political reasons. People love to travel to Europe. They love to go to Cologne. Yeah.
So your target is more people from outside of Europe, or?
I guess this will
to grow, I mean.
Yeah, this will come automatically.
Okay.
So it's not that we are planning a marketing campaign in the US, but people are having such a good time here in Europe.
Okay.
They talk about that in the industry, also in Asia and also in South America, and people love to travel to Europe. This is what we hear very often.
Yeah.
And more and more people are really doing it not like a business travel only. So they bring their partners with them and they just have a good time, and it's summer and they start in Germany, then go to Italy and then to Paris and then back home to the US. So I guess the time is really good.
Right. Yeah.
And I think, without really being able to say it now, but I think that Gamescom Dev 2030 will not be only 2 days or 2.5 days. I think we will see 3 days, maybe even more days. And beside of that, I would say we just have to continue with all the fantastic things we are doing right now. So we do not need to do real magic in changing the event or something. We have so many well-established and really good working things, like our developer night on Tuesday evening. Yeah. So although opening night live is happening at the same time with 5,000 people sitting there and watching this fantastic show that Jeff and his team is producing, we at our developer night last year had 2,500 people.
Wow.
Which is crazy. And they were in a not public, but we booked it, of course, yeah, but they were in a beer garden in the middle of Cologne and had a fantastic time. The dinner that I mentioned on, or the networking event that I mentioned on Sunday is fantastic. So we do not need to reinvent that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I'm very much looking forward to see that.
It's great that you have such a long-term plan, because I think that we don't really have to reinvent the wheel, but every year changing it slightly, that it becomes a better experience. Yeah. And the fact that you guys are just, listening to your community means that you can decide, okay, we don't do this anymore. We experimented with it. We'll just do it slightly different and so on. There's bound to be at some point a big difference in needs from different parts of the industry. So your artists, your business developers, and so on, will need very, very different things. How do you adapt to that?
It depends on the right timing. So we need, and this is what I meant when I said this is that kind of magic that me and my team are really good at. We need to understand when are managers sending their teams out again. So right now we have the situation that indie teams love to show up, but big studios are not sending 20 people to Cologne at the moment because they have to save budget. And so but at one point they will say, okay, let's do it like an incentive again. Yeah. So who wants to go to GDC? Who wants to go to Cologne? Yeah. And then they will send those people out again. And then we have immediately to adjust the conference and what we offer to them. So if we recognize more and more artists are showing up, we have to do roundtables and workshops
specifically for them.
Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
And until this is not happening, we have to focus on the needs of smaller teams and the needs of understanding the next big business thing and that kind of content.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
makes sense. I think we can be proud of our bowls, right? Of our
perfect. You did a fantastic job.
No, we did. We have a bottle of wine in the fridge. A bottle of Prosecco in the fridge. We should take advantage of that. Why not?
Yeah. This one?
Okay. And of course, you're going to open it.
Valdobbiadene.
Yes, that's where Prosecco comes from.
So, thanks for the invite. It was a pleasure.
So first, this is your fork. This is mine.
Thank you.
Good chat. Thank you very much for coming.